This is the Tier 10 Chinese Tech Tree Medium, the WZ-121. It is a vehicle that's mainly relevant for its deadly DPM factors, paired with a very hard-hitting gun having upwards of 420 damage output, and also paired with tungsten shells, which can exceed the limits to that of your regular average damage output. So the reason why I'm talking about this vehicle in today's video is because I haven't gotten a review on this thing yet, but I have gotten a play to lose. And second, it's receiving balance changes. 2 downsides along with 2 upsides along with that. Let's start with the downsides. It's losing DPM to start off with, and it's also getting an increase in its reload. From 8.7 upon its average to 9.1. It's not really that bad, or it doesn't really factor into the comparison between what it was before to what it is going to be then. It's not really that much of a difference. So it's also losing bits of turret rotation speed from 40 to 38 millimeters per second. That's not necessarily that bad either. So, but the thing about this thing is apart from the upsides, is that it's gaining power to weight. It's going from 16.7 average to 17.1. And for the majority of mediums that are going to be receiving, surprisingly enough, a mechanic associated with them is going to be the reactive armor mechanic. I don't really necessarily know why that mediums would need that such mechanic, but the armor is pretty solid on the WZ-121 in that regard, so it really just makes no sense, along with the M48 patent that's going to be receiving it too, which is kind of strange. So anyways, the front of its turret is upwards of 235, while the front of its hull is upwards of 131. And this is what the current armor profile looks like of this vehicle. You can see that the majority of the turret in that regards is pretty solid, upwards of about 316 to 420 in most cases, to 299 as well. The upper and lower plates, of course, are going to be slightly overmatched, as it has upwards of 215 to about 210 right here, and then 148 in that regards. Along with 2 hatches on the roof to which you can easily overmatch, it's not going to be something similar to that of a 62A, where the full-on hatch is absolutely very troll, and surprisingly enough with this vehicle, you can't overmatch it in some cases. When using its 5 degrees of gun depression when it's poking over a pretty angulated ridgeline to a point to where its gun can exceed the limits to that, the upper plate is thickened now to a point to where it can be auto-ricocheted by standard ammunition. Upwards of 249 in most cases to 251, and then the lower plate is upwards of 240. When running heats with calibrated shells, you can see that it does make a bit of a difference, as now the upper and lower plates can be slightly overmatched. And you got 2 cheeks that occur on the side of the turret that can be overmatched, varying on if you have good aiming and dispersion factors in order to hit directly into those spots. And then once we make our way to the side of the vehicle, the side of the turret is only 198 to 143, and then the full-on side is upwards of 83 to 85. Making our way towards the rear then, the back of the turret is 105 to 62, and then the full-on engine deck is 66. HEs can surprisingly cut through the engine deck right here, and the back of the turret right here, this little spot right here that is in the shape of a shield pretty much, can be vulnerable to any form of HEs as well that have upwards of 73 millimeters or beyond that. And then the deadly DPM factors. This vehicle carries 3,199 DPM with a 7.88 second reload time, which is absolutely insane. And then for the average penetration, 265 on the standard, 328 on the premium, and 73 on the high explosive. Combined as well with the average damage, like I said, 420 on the standard, that is extremely good. 370 on the premium, and 500 on the high explosive. The aiming time, on the other hand, is really good, 2.3 seconds with 0.285 dispersion. And finally, for the maneuverability, the tank goes at a top speed of 56 with a reverse of 20, and a pretty solid power to weight at the moment of 17.4. Let's go ahead and get into some gameplay then and see how we can fare well. The WZ-121 is an absolutely busted tank in the current stage that it's in. Tungsten shells combined with a 7-second reload time and outtrade a ton of heavies in that regards, and some mediums too. It's absolutely insane. So, let's go ahead and get into our first battle here, and it looks like that we have an E50 along with us. Let's see what they got. They have a 54 E1, and they also have a Bat Chat. Interesting. Alright, so let's go ahead, E50. Oh, we have a 92 E1 as well. I didn't even see him. Alright, so let's go ahead and mosey on towards the left side, see how we can fare well. we should be able to win the trade over here as long as our 92E1 comes along with us, which it looks like that it's going to be the case. I'm just going to go ahead and plant myself right beyond this bush right here just to make sure some of their enemies are spotted off in the back right over here. Or since we outnumbered them in terms of mediums and lights, they could be going over towards heavy flank if that's the case. So, let's go ahead and... Oh, there's the bat chat right there, interestingly enough. Alright, so let's go ahead and go towards the bat chat then, as the E50 is going to be remaining hold down right there. Oh, we also got the 54E1. We're going to activate a tungsten, and there you go. 502 into his vehicle. That is a very solid roll at that. We also got the enemy bat chat, and there's an HE into the side for 557. That is where the deadly DPM paired with the very solid damage output comes into play with this vehicle. The 54E1 pokes again, and there we go. Another very high damage of 471. Reloading once again. He's going to poke his turret out here in a couple seconds. There we go. 448, and yep, DPM demonstrating its very positive factors that lead towards the playstyle of this tank right here. And he's finished off. I do not know what just hit me off in the back. I would assume that that was the, either the YAG or I think it was, oh no, it was the 183. I think he tried to get an AG into me, surprisingly enough. Alright, so anyways, let's go ahead and mosey on over towards the heavies now. We do got the K91 spotted off in the back. Let's see if we can get a very solid chunker in his turret. There we go, 432. That's also where the aiming time comes into play, too. You can see how fast their aiming reticle comes down to a point to its lowest peak. So you can easily aim in your shells perfectly, for example, just like that, into your enemies. So we're going to reload once again. We're going to get a heat into his cheek right there. There we go. Overmatching the K91's turret right there in that regards as well. Oh, he does miss his shell, so let's go ahead and maybe plant ourselves along right over here. He is in the range of a one-shot. Okay, well, he does get finished off, which is really good. All right, let's go ahead and mosey on over towards these two enemies over here, unless that the 183 is out in the open right here, which it looks like that's the case. All right, we're going to run our tungsten. Let's get a nice tap for 505 into his vehicle. That is a very solid roll at that. And now I think he is looking at me, which it looks like that he is upon my behalf. So I got to be extremely careful in that regards. We also got the type. That looks like he's going to poke on out here any second. So I'm just going to back on up just in case if he does. Because I do not have the best bits of gun depression, but I do have... Alright, so the 183 is still over there. It looks like that he's still trying to aim in on me, which is actually kind of rat. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to get a snapshot. And oh, never mind. I thought he was aimed in on me, but I guess he gave up. So let's go ahead and mosey on towards the type now. Let's go ahead and get the finishing clear into his vehicle for 488. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the WZ-121 at the current stage that it's in. It is one of the deadliest mediums, if not pretty much up there with the STB, the M48 Patton, and the E50 along with that too. And we saw right there, we broke past 4,500 damage in our first game. 4534 to be exact, killing 3 and doing top on the team. Let's go ahead and get into a second battle. This vehicle is absolutely easy to use, especially for that maneuverability that it currently has, along with that deadly gun. You saw right there, that deadly gun combined with the aiming factors, we were able to aim our shells in perfectly, and they were able to fly in exactly to where we were aiming. That is just the beauty part of a vehicle like this. I'm even surprised that Wargaming decided to let this vehicle exist in the game. For a very deadly gun like this, with that amount of aiming time, it's just insane. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into game number 2. Let's see what they got. Oh, 2 bat chats. Interesting. But we also got a bat chat and a Sherry along with us. And they have 2 183s along with that, which is also very rat. This is also another problem in Blitz, is that they cannot judge the lineups of certain tanks in that regards as well. Like, they have 2 00 light tanks and 2 00 tank destroyers along with that. That is so rad. That's something that always bummed me out about the matchmaking system, is for the fact that it's just not fairly solid. Well, there's a 462 tap into the bat chat, and it looks like that they are trying to tunnel me at the moment. Well, let's go ahead and try to see if we can get a nice tap into that bat chat for 498. Thank you so much, Sheridan, for getting in my way And you cost me almost all of my hit points, you dumb shizberg. Alright, well, since the bat chat's reloading... Bro, this Sheridan is so bad, bro. There is no way. I literally could have just blunkered all my shells into these enemies in that regard. Like, that is ridiculous, bro. Alright. Well, he does get cleared in the process, so I'm just going to go ahead and move on upwards over here. I am trying to stay out of the way of that Sheridan, as he screwed me big time in that regards. Jeez. That's the problem with teammates nowadays, too, is that they love to just get in your way, and they honestly could care less about it. So... let's see, what do they got over towards the side over here? Alright, they got one of their 183s. We also got the VK that's up on the hill. Can we spot him maybe? Or maybe we can just move on forward. We also got the 183 over that's trying to push up on the hill over there. We also got the other 183, which can spot. Very rat bounce, if I'm not going to be mistaken. That's crazy. Alright, and we are spotted at the moment, so I'm just going to back on up just a little bit. Let's go ahead and mosey on through, maybe over here. Maybe they have some... oh, yep, I'm backing on up now. Now that I know that some of their vehicles are camping off in the back still, and we are not able to spot them, let's see what we can do. Alright, looks like their bat chat is coming on in. Just maybe. Alright, so it looks like he's going down, so... the only way that he can go through is if he goes over through this little gap right here, which it looks like that he's going to do. Alright, let's see. There we go. Aw, damn, I really want to get a tap into him. Well, that's totally fine. Alright, let's see if we can spot this VK. Probably not. Nope. Not able to spot him. Alright, I gotta go down. Alright. Well, we are gonna win this game. That's good, upon our behalf. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mosey on through, maybe behind over here. I do know that they have a tank probably camping off in the back somewhere. I haven't seen that K91 the whole game, though, so I'd be really interested to know where this player's at. Oh, he's right over at mid. Okay, interesting. So, let's go ahead and mosey on through for the time being. Maybe we could spot the VK if he's still up here in that regards as well. So let's continue moving, unless if the 183 could be over here, too. Oh, yep, there he is. Alright, so he is out in the open. Wow, and then... I thought I had my tungsten rounds already loaded in, but it was unfortunately enough to be the AGs. So, well, I don't know what to say upon that, but the only thing that I could do is finish this player off, which is really good. Alright, now we got the K91 within our line of sight, so let's go ahead and... well, he is aiming in on me. Well, it makes no difference at all, as we do finish him off. So now, all that's left is the enemy VK-72. Alright, let's go ahead and mosey on through towards his side. Get a nice tap for 489 into him, as we are going to have another opportunity to get another shell into him. But I'm just going to wait for my tungsten shells to finally be loaded in. Or not. Well, that was a little bit of a worse game. A kind of strange one at that. We got pecked off by two back chats, one of them of which my Sheridan screwed me. Well, surprisingly enough, we were able to break past 2,000 damage at that. That was actually kind of a really weird game. So let's go ahead and get into one more then. Well, we had a very solid game demonstrating the good capabilities of the WZ-121, and then there's the second game to where sometimes the gun depression, because it's only 6 degrees, cannot really work ridge lines that well. So you would have to be down to a point to where, you would have to be at a slightly more, angled ridge at that matter. So, what I'm actually talking about, if that makes sense, here's a ridge line right here. I want to poke my turret out to the best that I can. You need to have, like, a steep slope, or, like, a straight slope, right behind, like, a ridge line in that regard. So, for example, like, if I go on over here, this is a good map to demonstrate such that. So, there's a couple bits actually on this map. So what I'm talking about is that there's this flat terrain right here, and then here's the ridge line right here. You can see that only my turret is poking out now to a point to where vehicles would have a very hard time trying to cut through it in that regards. That's just a good example that I could try to pencil or demonstrate for you guys in case if you are aware of what I was meaning upon the terms that I said. So let's go ahead and mosey on through with our 268. We already got a 95E6 off in the back, and we got an STB along with that, too. Wow, and we missed from point blank? That is crazy, bro. Oh, my God. Yep, there goes my game. That's crazy. Wow, and we can actually get a shell in that time. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and run away then, because, wow, crazy. Alright, so I'm going to have to go low for that matter. So, let's go ahead and mosey on through right around here. Wow, the 268 actually got a clear into one of those enemies, which is actually really weird. Alright, let's go ahead and mosey our way down over to this side. Gotta mention that the maneuverability of this thing is very solid, because if we were in something like maybe a heavy in that regards, we probably would have never been able to get out of that situation, surprisingly enough. So we got the 183 spotted. I think we can overmatch his turret, which we can, but unfortunately we do miss the shell, which is kind of rat. So, let's go ahead and see if we can get another tap into him. Unfortunately not. This does look like a loss in that matter, because the shell was fully aimed on in, and unfortunately Wargaming decided to want to screw me. Alright, we also got the E3 off to the side. Maybe we can, if we could spot him, we can get a clear into him. Yes, we can. Beautiful. Alright. So, I'm going to stick here with my mouse for the time being. I'm going to wait till he gets pecked off by maybe the Jagdpanzer. Unless, since he's still out in the open right there. Okay, I'm not able to spot it because my gun depression is slightly bad. Alright, we're probably going to wait for him to maybe angle. Alright, well, that's not the case, so that gives me the opportunity to move on forward now, as he is clearly focused in on my mouse at the time being. I am in the range of a one-shot for him as well. We also got the 121 off to the side. I do not have the elevation to get another hit into him. Alright, so let's go ahead and maybe bait this guy as he's going to go for the enemy mouse right over there. Yep, that does look like it's going to be the case. Alright, so let's go ahead and wait for him to fire. There we go. Perfect. And there's a 385 chunker into his vehicle. Reloading once again. Let's go ahead and activate our tungsten rounds at that too. We cannot HE the back of a Yak because that is extremely rat. And there we go. We do get the clear into him. Beautiful. All right. Let's go ahead and mosey onward towards the last two enemies over here. Oh, there's the 183 right there. And unfortunately, he put himself in the worst possible spot for his vehicle, as that will cost him his game right there. Now that he's out in the open, and the mouse has an opportunity to finish him off, which is really good. So he gets a shot into him, which is good upon his behalf. So we're going to wait for him to reload once again, as the 183 has terrible reverse speed in that regards, and now his game is going to be screwed upon that. I thought this game was going to be a loss, but because of Wargaming screwing my RNG in the process, it necessarily didn't matter. The WZ-121 did its job for the most part, considering I let my mouse take the hit, and then I come in at the last second and help him finish off that Yag, which is the most important thing upon my behalf as a medium tank. And yep, there we go. A very solid victory at that. I do got to admit, though, the on-movement dispersion factor of this vehicle is not pretty. As you can see, when we were trying to fire shells on the move right there, it didn't really factor in as well. So 1464, we were still able to surpass 1,000 damage, surprisingly enough. And wow, our team did really good in this one. So in terms of the WZ-121, the balance changes are going to be making a little bit of a difference in terms of this vehicle's DPM, along with how faster it's going to be going on its top speed. Or not top speed, but it's powered away from going from standing still to quick off the start. That's what I meant to say in terms of that. So anyways, hopefully you guys did end up enjoying today's video, and if you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Make sure to turn on those bell notifications while at it so you don't miss out on any new videos, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out, y'all.